At the end of all this, might we have ourselves a happy emperor and his boy? Hey folks, MasakoX here. This notion of Frieza having a son isn't something that we at the MasakoX channel have made up. No. This is something that Toriyama came up with long ago, albeit as somewhat of a gag, for the Neko Margin side story of short comics, where a cat and a margin, seem to have done the horizontal fling. In any case, the things that we changed for this story are the ways that Frieza gets his son, who Toriyama named Kuriza by the way, he made that bit too, and he was brought into the land of the living. Frieza one day felt rather lonely and a little broody, and so he resorted to the tools and tricks and inventions that brought him and Cooler into the world to not only ensure his empire would endure, but also as a means to get a mole into the world of the Dragon Team, rather subtly. Only it didn't work out like that. His boy was simply too nice. Not that that's a bad thing, mind. At least for us. We need more good boys in this world. In the last part, Bulma, Frieza and Piccolo had to navigate their way through the Earth Prison Complex, a place of limbo to which Shenron had sent them, and the Saiyans earlier when Cooler wished for them to be erased as well from the mortal coil. Only the Dragon of Earth couldn't actually do that, that was beyond his powers, so he chose the next best thing, which was to move them to another plane of reality. That counts, right? In there, Frieza was told in no uncertain terms that he had been a terrible father, and it finally got through to him that he actually had a rather good egg in Kuriza after all, him starting to understand the art of parenting from the likes of Bulma, and I think that's a good lesson to have. With the two of them seeing eye to eye, finally, there was another matter to attend to. A big burly Broly! Frieza managed to calm him down somewhat, and all the Saiyans and Saiyan hybrids were freed from their prison of Earth thanks to Goku's instant transmission. With this extra range of scope and different way of thinking, they were able to cross reality and find themselves back on Namek. Now, we have a Kuriza to rescue. So there we have it. Frieza, Bulma and the Saiyans are back in our reality, having escaped the confines and weird time distortion of the Earth prison. Their return did not go unnoticed though, them being greeted by a rather pleased Kikuno, and Frieza gets an additional nod of approval from Berry Blue. It was clear to her that some sort of coming together of minds had gone on wherever they had gone, and Frieza was actually playing ball with his supposed enemies. That had to only be a good thing. The Namekians also seemed to be calmer upon their return, seeing that their allies were safe and sound. You know, just in case Frieza here would try anything funny, because he has been known to do that. Frieza too was indeed happy to see his minions there ready to greet him. But of course he had to keep up appearances, now that they were back where they belonged. He coughed and changed tack. And where have the two of you been? I thought you were behind us! Frieza scoffed at Kikuno. Bulma, watching all of this go down, sighed. If any change were to happen to Frieza, it would be a very long and gradual one at that. Kikuno bowed profusely. Lord Frieza, we thought we were getting transported as well. We swear, it's not our fault, honest! Berry Blue meanwhile smirked. This must be destiny at play. I suppose the dragon thought that we wouldn't be needed on this particular mission. And besides, you were gone for mere minutes. Frieza blinked for a second. That didn't feel like minutes at all. He was about to chastise Berry Blue for that glib remark, but then remembered that time didn't work in the Earth prison the same way it did here, and so therefore, Frieza held his tongue and changed topic. And he was right. We have dealt with it. Now, it's time to go for Cooler. Vegeta, however, eyed Frieza coldly. That shouldn't be a problem, since we clearly outnumber that brother of yours. He might be stronger than you, but I'm pretty sure myself or Kakarot can take him down with no trouble. Broly looked puzzled at Goku. Should I help too? He looked a little pained at this, like he really didn't want to fight if he didn't have to. Goku, Vegeta and Frieza then looked to each other, and for once, they saw eye to eye with no prompting. Frieza nodded. You know what, Broly? I think you've had enough adventures for one day. We'll take you back to your friends. Kikuno looked surprised. Lord Frieza! This monkey is one of our strongest weapons! Why would we allow them to send him away? Frieza sighed and crouched to look Kikono right in the eyes. First of all, his name is Broly. Second, I have already assisted in calming him down once. I'd rather not go through that again today. Unless I could task you with this job, Kikono. The scientist swallowed loudly. I see, my lord. Very well. And so Goku took Broly back to Vampa to Chidai and Lemmo, who looked relieved and as if they were ready to get themselves going to depart the planet in order to look for their giant friend. Now they didn't have to. Phew. Goku told them what had happened and to make sure that Broly got a lot of rest. He'd been through a lot. Chidai nodded. With that, Goku bade them goodbye and headed back to the main group. They contacted the Galactic Patrol for assistance and used their then delivered intel in order to find Cooler. It seemed that the new Emperor had been busy, calling all the Frieza forces together in order to reinforce for a potential consolidation, and perhaps conquest mission. The Galactic Patrol were very happy to have the Dragon team on their case. After some time spent with copious amounts of interstellar travel, they found a fleet of Frieza Force ships, which Frieza immediately recognized as his, that had been stolen from him by his brother. I know what makes that fleet tick. We will have to fight our way through it. Frieza cracked his knuckles. Vegeta laughed to himself. Today was going to be a good day for him after all. Frieza, I'm going to enjoy beating the crud out of your minions. Frieza wagged his finger. Those smart enough to know better will stop attacking us as soon as they see me enter the fray. As for the rest who are too blind or too stupid to understand, or maybe have had it in for me secretly all this time, be my guest, monkeys. And as such, with the Saiyans dressed in spacesuits, our heroes started the attack on the unexpected forces of Frieza. And much like Frieza predicted, some of the foot soldiers actually started to help their emperor, seeing that he was back, very happy to see a familiar face. They had explained to him that whilst Cooler hadn't been a bad leader per se, he was an extremely regimented one. There was far more work to be done on the daily with him around. Frieza, meanwhile, was relatively lax in some ways. As long as things got done to a decent click, it was all good. Frieza didn't know how to react to this, but he took it. You know, they liked him better than Cooler. Gohan, Goten and Trunks, as well as Piccolo, were supported by Bulma on the technical front, and with the aid also of Kikono and Berry Blue, they were busy routing the Frieza loyalists against the defectors. Some though remained loyal to Cooler, having been convinced to pledge allegiance to him. But after everything was said and done, really, they managed to get aboard the main vessel, the capital ship itself. Upon entering, their way was ultimately blocked by the armored squadron. Well, I do not know how you managed to bring back these monkeys, but Monsieur Cooler will not be taken down so easily, especially with us around, Salsa exclaimed. Frieza looked at the Saiyans. Be dears, and will you take out these fools for me? I'm going after Cooler. Last time out, he gave you a thorough beating. I remember it clearly. Vegeta raised his eyebrow. If that proves to be the case, then you will have another chance to give him one if I fail. Stop it. Goku nodded, and himself and Vegeta started their fight with the squadron, who thanks to their genetically modified durability, were now even stronger than the last time they had fought. Frieza, however, managed to duck and dive his way past the loyalist men and got to the bridge of the ship with minimal damage. Cooler, though, was clearly ready for him. He was sitting in the captain's chair, his chair, with his tail coiled around Kuriza, who at this point looked pretty lifeless, struggling to stay conscious. He started clapping slowly.
Well, you did it, brother. You had to resort to bringing back the Saiyans to even hope to fight me.
Frieza clenched his fists. What have you done to him? Cooler casually looked to the limp Kuriza.
Your precious little runt. Don't worry, I merely sedated him. I'm not an animal, brother dearest, he's my nephew. You might find solace that I plan to make him a proper heir to our empire, one that doesn't fraternize with monkeys. Why you instilled that in him after all you've been through, I have no idea.
Cooler stood up, with Kuriza still wrapped around his tail, then prepared for battle then and there. They then powered up to their golden forms. Frieza attacked furiously, while Cooler was using his size advantage, and even with his tail busy holding Kuriza, he was a terrifying opponent, especially since Frieza was still a little worn out after the whole Earth prison thing. And even though he got some pretty good hits on him, Cooler still managed to overpower him.
I've trained a bit for the last few days, you know. just in case you would decide to show up, somehow. You always find some way to crawl back.
Cooler grabbed Frieza by his neck and held him upwards.
No, brother dearest, it's over. The Saiyans might be stronger, but I have all the firepower I need in order to... Ah! You little scamp!
It was Kuriza, who had bitten Cooler's tail, causing him to let go of Frieza. Kuriza! Leave Papa alone! A small destructo disc flew towards Cooler's face, leaving a small cut in its wake.
You arrogant angel!
But Frieza was free, and he managed to hit Cooler with a kidney punch. Get out from there, Kuriza! Now! Kuriza wanted to protest, but his father was clearly serious. On his way out of the bridge, Kuriza saw Goku and Vegeta. Mr. Vegeta, sir! My papa needs help! Vegeta rolled his eyes in a knowing manner. Of course he does. Vegeta scoffed further, but he did feel a little better, seeing that the runt was alive and well. You see, Vegeta, Monsieur Cooler is the strongest fighter in the whole Vegeta, though, had had enough, and simply just punched Salza into a wall. Though by the sound of it, it would seem that he actually made a hole in at least 3 walls. Then, combining his forces with Goku, he blasted away the remaining members of the squadron. Seems that if you punch them really hard, Goku started talking. Don't even think about finishing that sentence, Kakarot. The 2 Saiyans, along with Kuriza, rushed back to the bridge, where they saw Cooler and Frieza in full-on clash mode, in a deadly embrace.
I will give you this, brother. You are ferocious, but we have an army with a firepower that could wipe out even the strongest of warriors. We can work together, and you can have your little revenge against the Saiyans after all.
Frieza eyed Goku and Vegeta, then sighed. No, if I'm going to destroy those fools, I will do it on my own terms. But today isn't that day. Gentlemen, would you give me a hand here? Goku and Vegeta smirked, and what came next was pretty similar to what Frieza was getting from Broly back in the Earth Prison. All 3 of them, Goku, Vegeta and Frieza, were giving Cooler a thorough drubbing, not really giving him a chance to do anything in return, ultimately beating him out of his golden form. Finally, Cooler fell to the ground, defeated. He looked up, tired and weary. We could have worked together, brother. This is foolish. You know, Father really should have taught you how to haggle. Frieza started to charge a small death ball in his hand, but then looked to Kuriza. He then aimed it at Cooler, and then he extinguished it. It's funny. After all that you've done, I don't even really feel like killing you. What would be the point, really? You know Galactic Patrol officers, right? No is a rather strong word. Vegeta looked at Frieza. Do they have some way of suppressing his energy? If not, I'm sure Bulma can think of something. Cooler's eyes widened. Are you out of your mind? Frieza grinned. You said it yourself, brother. We are family, and I don't feel like hell would teach you anything. It didn't do for me. But I think a prison would hurt your ego much more. And with a quick kick from Frieza, Cooler lost consciousness. Then the Space Emperor looked at his son. Are you all right? Yes, father. That was a rather good destructo disc. Really? You mean it? I mean, thank you, father. Frieza patted Kuriza on the back. It's time to tell those fools outside to stop fighting. Can you two take my brother to the Galactic Patrol? I'm sure that Jarko fellow will be most pleased. Then Frieza turned around to his comms console to announce his victory. But before the Saiyans left, dragging the unconscious Cooler behind them, Kuriza quickly turned to them and smiled. Goku winked at him, and Vegeta gave him a sneaky thumbs up. But Salza was not yet done. They might have defeated Monsieur Cooler, but he still had some fight left in himself. His body may have been broken, but if he could reach the ship's engine core, he could take down those fools unawares. Monsieur Cooler himself surely would be durable enough to survive the explosion. Yes, he could almost see it, and he would have been successful. Had he not been stunned by a shot from a stun gun in the back? You know, said Prune, looking at his stun gun, and later on shifting his gaze onto his companion Bilberry. I never liked that guy. And so, the civil war of the Frieza Empire was over, with Cooler and the armored squadron imprisoned inside a highly specialized cell block within the Galactic Patrol. That being the biggest shame the would-be Emperor could even imagine. After all was said and done, Frieza sent his ship to Earth to discuss something. When he landed, he saw that Kuriza was glad to see Pan and Bulla, but he tried to look menacing by his father's side to keep up appearances. He gazed upon Goku, Chi-Chi, Vegeta and Bulma. "Quite a long day that was." "Quite," Bulma responded. "I think someone has earned himself a vacation." Frieza patted Kuriza on the shoulder. "Papa? Do you like it here, son?" "I am ready for the conquest. If you need me, No, be honest with me. Do you like it here? I won't get mad." Kuriza looked at his friends, at the Saiyans and the humans. "Today was fun, but I want to spend some time with you." Frieza kneeled to be at the level of his son's eyes. "Well, I will come and visit. For real this time. But you must know that the monkeys and I, well, we don't get along that much. But I'd rather you get stronger doing what you like than pretending for my sake." Kuriza looked at his father. "When you're older, you will take your place at my side. But for now, I think you will benefit more from being here." I will miss you, father." Kuriza looked at him. Frieza paused for a second and patted him on the head. "And I will remember how you saved my life today." And before he left, he turned around on the ramp and looked at the Saiyans. "Don't think that we are buddies now. I'm merely returning favors." Vegeta smirked. "Never thought otherwise. One day, I will beat you more than we beat Cooler today." "I can't wait." And the ship departed, with Kuriza looking to the sky until the vessel vanished from view. After it had gone, Vegeta walked up to Kuriza. "So, what are you waiting for, Runt? Go and have fun or something." "Yes, sir." And this day, Mount Paozu was loud with the happy screams of 3 children. Meanwhile, Frieza had a new decoration on his bridge. A small picture of Kuriza, all muddied up, but happy. Every new recruit had been advised to never ask about it. Otherwise, Lord Frieza would gladly blast their kneecaps off. Though Very Blue did notice it, that since this particular element had popped up on their vessel, Lord Frieza, he seemed noticeably happier. And that's where we end things. So what did you folks think? Did you find this story of Frieza's journey through parenthood rather wholesome? Do you think that Kuriza himself would wind up being a good successor to Frieza? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I'll see you in the next video. Catch you later!